The White House either has no clue what is going on at the border or they don't want you to know how bad it is. After stonewalling the media on the number of Haitian migrants, the Biden administration is finally releasing some numbers. The problem is they don't add up.
There are 15,000 migrants under the Del Rio Bridge Saturday. If you add up the ones that you say were expelled or released, it's less than 5,000. Say there's 5,000 that are still left. Where's everybody else?
I'm happy to get you a more fruitful rundown for you, if helpful, from the Department of Homeland Security.
And instead of fixing the mess down in Del Rio, the Biden White House is repeating false left-wing talking points and smearing the Border Patrol by running wild with the completely bogus narrative that agents on horseback were whipping Haitian migrants. The administration appears to have come up with a solution: take away the horses.
We feel those images are horrible and horrific. There is an investigation the president certainly supports, overseen by the Department of Homeland Security, which he has conveyed will happen quickly. I can also convey to you that the secretary also conveyed to civil rights leaders earlier this morning that we would no longer be using horses in Del Rio.
Why isn't the president telling people himself these images that people say look like slavery are wrong?
I think people should take away that his actions make clear how horrible and horrific he thinks these images are,
as opposed to the images we've been showing you for months. And while Democrats smear Border Patrol agents as racist and relics of slavery, a reporter caught this moment that flies in the face of that narrative.
I'd like to show you another video, if we could, where we saw actually one man start to be swept down the river. He was clearly not a good swimmer. Several Haitian migrants went in after him to try and help him, but ultimately it was the Border Patrol. Several agents on the other side of the river who took a line, threw it into the river, and they were ultimately able to help that man, that migrant, get out of the water.
Are you sure he wasn't trying to whip that guy with that very, 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 very long? I mean, I don't know. That looks like a relic of slavery right there, huh? So anyway, Dana, you have horrific images going on for months, total chaos at the border. And what does the White House do? Ban horses, problem solved.
This is actually one of the most maddening things I've ever seen. So they misunderstood an image. Mm-hmm. They overreacted to it. And in order to backfill and cover themselves, instead of saying, whoa, sorry, we didn't mean to impugn the Border Patrol, they said, actually, we're going to take away your best resource. They don't understand that it's the best resource down there because they're so coddled and sheltered, they can't go to the border.
Right.
They've never seen it.
They have border privilege. You have these New York reporters who have no idea why the horses are there because you have rough, uneven terrain.
I mean, I have to say, I even know how to turn a horse like that.
Yeah.
I mean, you use it as a tool. And these horses are such a resource, right? And so now all of a sudden, these guys, they're being benched.
Yeah.
They have to have desk duty. Mm-hmm. They can't even go out there and do their jobs that they've been trained to do. It really makes me mad.
Ugh.
Let's say Dana was wearing some nice perfume.
Oh,
I went in here for a sniff like that.
Uh-huh.
Easy.
And that created an image that I was kissing Dana Perino.
I thought that.
Fox would fire me or suspend me or put me on paid leave, hopefully paid leave, over an image that everybody knows is fake. I didn't kiss Dana. I merely sniffed her perfume. That's the same thing. They're concerned about an image, not the truth. The truth is so obvious there was no whipping going on. Biden appointed Harris because he needed a buffer to all this, right? She did the fake thing, go find out root causes. She failed. Everything got worse. She comes back. She's like, I'm done. Problem's still there. Now everyone's looking at Joe, right? And they're saying, Joe, what are you going to do? Joe's not going to do anything for the next 4 years. Joe's now saying the system's broken. Joe broke the system. He got rid of catch and release, the wall, kneecap the ICE people, no more deportations. He broke it. His policy is catch and release. By the way, Joe Biden is the system.
Yeah.
He's been in the system for 40 years. He was VP for 8. He can, at the stroke of his pen, get rid of all this and fix it, but he's not. Where'd all the money go to Haiti, Geraldo? We talked about this yesterday. In 2010, since then, we've given Haiti $5 billion. Didn't go to the Haitians, Geraldo. It went to people who we greased, okay? Does Joe care? Joe doesn't even care about that. Mayorkas says the border's closed, Katie. Okay, well, it's not closed if you let half the people in you catch. That's like if you and I went to a party.
Okay.
And the bouncer says, no, party's over, and then let us in. Party's not over. Party's just getting started, Katie. So that makes no sense. Then Schumer comes out, lets the truth slip, says, well, we need migration and we need amnesty because we have a labor shortage in this country. That's what it's about. They need the cheap labor because that's what their donors want. And then Crying Chuck wants the votes. It's perfectly clear.
Just don't sniff me.
I think there's a reason you didn't ask for permission for analogies today.
You know, the one thing that gets me, Katie, is that the White House did not react to the border crisis until they found somebody to punish.
Right.
And it was just a white guy on a horse because that was acceptable to Maxine Waters and the squad and everybody else.
Yeah, they haven't been paying attention to this crisis for years when it comes to their policies until they could blame a law enforcement official doing the job outlined by the Department of Homeland Security, using the horse in the way that he was supposed to because nobody else is stopping these illegal immigrants from coming across the border who are disobeying orders. I think this comes down to this being an issue of trust. If the Biden White House is willing to change a policy like this and put Border Patrol agents in even a more detrimental situation to set them up to fail than they were previously, based on a lie, what else are they capable of doing? You know, this was an emotional decision that was driven by hysteria and false narratives on Twitter. That's what happened. And Democrats are constantly turning the good guys, in this case, Border Patrol, they've done it with the police, into bad guys to satisfy this emotional political agenda that they have. And it's very obvious to see where they're going because they need a distraction from this real crisis, catastrophe, right? Al Sharpton was at the border today. Why do you think that Maxine Waters had this press conference? Because they want to make this about race. Because when they make it about race, you're not allowed to talk about it anymore. Can't talk about the failed policies, can't talk about how they're not doing their job, can't talk about the threat to American communities from not testing for COVID or for, I don't know, criminals who are taking over buses and injuring our ICE officers, right? And so, you know, next week, DHS is going to release their investigation into these Border Patrol agents who are doing their job. It sounds a whole lot like the White House wants them to be punished. And if you just look at what Jen Psaki said, she said, we feel those images are horrible and horrific. We feel they are.
Yep.
So again, not about facts, not about what's going on the ground, not about solving the problem. It's all about giving into this emotional narrative, which means just going to get worse.
You know, Geraldo, Republicans get a lot of things wrong. There's
You
a
know
lot of
being in love means never having to say you're sorry.
Oh, that's beautiful. You want a hug? But you know, Republicans have flaws, but there's a big flaw with Democrats, and I was wondering if you would agree with me on this, that they always pit order and process on the opposite end of compassion. So that if you desire any kind of process or order, somehow you are cold and non-empathetic, and so what you end up here is the ultimate result is chaos where people actually get hurt. Does that make sense?
I guess it does, but I still am horrified by that image, and I hate to say that. I know that it is not the substantive, heart of this matter. But I worry that because of the horse and because the image is so vivid, we aren't concentrating on what this is about. This is about Haiti. Haiti has gone to hell in a handbasket since the earthquake of 2010, where I watched Hillary Clinton absolutely misunderstand what was going on in Haiti there on the runway in Port-au-Prince. These folks have been screwed by the immigration system for generations. Cubans getting most favored nations. A Cuban touches the sand in Florida, they get asylum. A Haitian touches the sand in Florida, they get the bum's rush. We really need to understand, and I believe there is a huge hysterical overreaction to these Haitians. You talk as if there's been this this ink stain sweeping across the country.
No one talks about that, Geraldo. We're looking at the shanty town, the camp, at the gate of the country. That's the
shanty
image.
town is
It
almost
has
gone
nothing
already.
to do with the color of their skin. That's the image that's shocking people, not the guy on horseback.
That image is... First of all,
that's also 6 days later from 15,000.
Right. This is 1/3 of what it was.
Yeah, because
a few days
2/3
ago.
got let in, Geraldo.
But so what? They got let in.
Okay, so just let anybody in. Okay, anybody gets to come here, Geraldo. That's the attitude that Joe Biden had.
You're
that
talking
invited
as if
that.
it was an army
That
of Haitians.
No, I'm not. I'm not talking about them as an army.
Say it's 15,000.
All right, don't put words in my mouth. You're doing
God,
exactly
everybody's
what
so
Joe Biden
sensitive to me
does.
putting words in their mouth.
Oh, I'm so sensitive. I'm about to smell you, Geraldo.
And that'll be taken out of context.
Yeah, right.
And you'll get on paid leave, which we'll all be behind. I will support you 100%.
Only if it's paid.
And then we'll pretend like you didn't exist.
I deserve it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.